Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, coming to you live from right here at the AMC Movie News headquarters in Burbank, California. And we would like to invite you to stop, collaborate, and listen. This is effing awesome. This trailer is perfect. It's perfect. And here's the thing. Since I was a teenager and I read The Dark Knight Returns for the very first time, right? That opened up the world of Batman to me because it introduced us to a new Batman. This is not a Batman who saw his parents killed and he said, I'm going to get justice for everybody else who's wronged and protect the innocents. No, this is a man who is fueled by rage, pure, unadulterated rage. He is a living demon, a manifested nightmare for anybody who would prey on the weak. But this statement from him is totally BS. Why is it totally BS? Because they already know if this is going to be rated R or not. They knew this movie was going to be rated R or not when they greenlit it or didn't greenlight it. When Ryan Reynolds was trying all that time and for all the years to get them to okay a Deadpool movie, there was no universe in which you convinced me that they didn't settle on, okay, we'll do it and it'll be rated R, or we'll do it and it'll be rated PG-13. And everybody knew that right from the beginning. The script is done. They're shooting the frickin' movie, for heaven's sakes. They all already know if this is going to be an R-rated film or a PG-13 film. The issue here to me, and by the way, thank you for the question, is that something that I think is a real problem in not just Star Wars fandom, but film fandom regardless of genre in general. Here's what I mean by this. A little bit of background to me, okay? My earliest childhood memory, I've said this before, is my mom watching Star Wars with me. I don't have any memory of my life prior to that. I honestly don't. So as far as my conscious mind goes, I have been a Star Wars fan my whole life. My very first pet was a cat my parents got me, and they allowed me to name it Luke Skywalker. What the hell is, seriously, what's with this whole movement now? Like, let's take Maleficent, but she's a good guy. Ultimately, no, just give me my bad guys as bad. I want to see The Rock play Black Adam and play him bad. I want to see Black Adam like he's kind of portrayed, like the way he's portrayed in Injustice Gods Among Us. I want to see a bad guy. Don't give me this crap about, but it's somewhere he'll find the hero inside. I drove 2,000 miles to watch The Phantom Menace in my favorite movie theater. John, why didn't you drive? Because why didn't you fly? Because honestly, it was my religious pilgrimage. It was my Mecca. It was me and a couple other friends decided we were going to road trip it because this was that important to us, that's how we were going to experience Star Wars. But then comes this notion that if you're going to be a fan of Star Wars, and this is the minority of people, and I am certainly, none of my comments right now are addressed to people who legitimately love the prequels. You know I hate them and I don't like them, but all film's subjective, and if you love the prequels, that's all that matters, and my opinion shouldn't shake your love of those films in any way. These are killers. These are hunters who will kill you. Let's not forget, at the end of Return of the Jedi, these guys are playing the severed heads of their fallen enemies as bongo drums, okay? They will hunt you down, and then once they hunt you, if they don't kill you right away, they will feast on your flesh. They will eat you. These things are ferocious. I don't care, like you put Vader and the Emperor on one side of Endor, so you gotta walk to the other side of Endor, and you're gonna have a pack of Ewoks hunting you. I still like their chances, but it's going to be a run for their money. The Ewoks represent all of that to me. Yes, there was a cute side, but that cuteness hid that viciousness, that lethalness that I think just went over a lot of people's heads and ignore. So, in conclusion, council members, screw you. I love the Ewoks. Robert Downey Jr., Marvel, and the Avengers Age of Ultron were kind enough to let this one UK outlet come in and be a part of that thing, to have some time. And it ain't easy to get time with Robert Downey Jr. It is not easy to get that time. And they were given that time to sit down and talk about Avengers Age of Ultron. And what did this dick do? He decided, let's talk about your drug use. Let's talk about your time in prison. Let's talk about your dad. You're an idiot. If Robert Downey Jr. had dove over that couch and punched you square in your stupid-looking mouth, I would have been totally fine with it. It was one of the most unprofessional, disrespectful things I have ever seen in this line of business that we do. I was embarrassed for my profession when I saw what that guy was doing. Look, different story. You want to run an expose on Robert Downey Jr. and his past and history? Work the phones, make the contacts, get an exclusive interview, get some time with him where he knows you're going to talk to him about that stuff, and do your piece. Not when you don't ambush them when you get invited in to talk about a movie and promote and then catch them totally off guard and throw garbage like that at them. I was embarrassed by it. I felt bad for Robert Downey Jr. I have a lot of respect for how RDJ handled that, man. He just smiled and said, okay, and that was it. I would have done worse, man. I would have done a lot worse. Big props to Robert Downey Jr. how he handled that. Anyway, Christian, tell me why I'm wrong.
Yeah, and I hope you get fired, dummy, because from everything that you've done, you're an embarrassment. Putz. That's all I should say is putz.
Remember Odin died? But he didn't really die. Leave some of it to mystery. Move stories forward. Don't go backwards with these things. You're turning him into a hero who just has an attitude. That means he's an anti-hero. That's not what it means. You know, one of the things is they have killed, we didn't kill, about 8 different characters about 8 different times in these Marvel films. If you look at something that you propose to love and it doesn't hurt you, dissuade you, damage you, make a little part of your soul die inside when you see it not executing well, then I'm sorry, my friend. You don't love Star Wars. You like Star Wars. We don't need origin stories for everybody. We don't need to know how everything came to be. There is value in the mystery. There is value in not having all the answers. And I wish I could get in a time machine, travel back a bunch of years, smack George Lucas, who I worship at his altar, and say, we don't need to know where Darth Vader came from. He's Darth Vader. That's all we need to know. You told us everything beautifully in Return of the Jedi that we need to know about the history of Darth Vader. Don't show us anymore and ruin it. When you love Star Wars, you are impassioned for it. And that means you see the good and you see the bad. When you love somebody, like a person in your life, my wife knows every bad, rotten thing about me. She doesn't stick her head in the sand to say she loves me. In order for her to say she loves John, she doesn't have to brainwash herself into forgetting all the bad things that are about me. No, what makes her love special is that she acknowledges the rotten things about me. She's aware of the negative things about me and loves me in total anyway, without sticking her head in the sand, like I said before. These are things. Blind fandom is not fandom at all. If you guys are on such polar opposite sides of things, how are you so stupid that you made the partnership in the first place? Like, seriously, do you not do any vetting? Did you guys not sit down and have coffee at least once, like some rep at Warner Brothers and her, and get some kind of idea about where you want to go with this film? See, to me, that's not love. That's denial. Love is not sticking your head in the sand. Love is not disillusioning yourself. Love is not denial. You see, when you love something, you want the best for it. You want the best out of it. Maybe an unhealthy amount of yourself becomes focused around that thing. It might be the single most influential film ever made. You talk to 100 directors, 98 of them will tell you they either thematically or visually or plot-wise they have taken from The Godfather. It is that legendary for a reason. It is amazing. And then you get to watch The Godfather 2, which a lot of people think is even better. I'm a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. Have been my whole life, always will be. I bleed blue and white. But they suck. They've sucked for a long time. But just because they suck doesn't mean I deny my love for them and how much I love them. Because guess what? Any weak-minded fool can just say, everything about this thing is awesome and therefore I love it. It takes a true fan with true love to say, yeah, that's bad and that's bad and that's bad, and then look you in the eye and say, but I love it anyway. Are you guys so far apart and so clueless and so out of your minds that you just know what you do is like, her? Sure, yeah, come on board, and then find out if you're on the same page? How do you treat a property like Wonder Woman and not know if creatively you and this director are on the same page or not? Look. Directors depart films sometimes. It happens once in a while over creative differences. We get it. But this was just November. And from what we're hearing, like, they agreed on nothing or whatever. So what were you doing during the hiring process in the first place? I love Star Wars with every ounce of my frickin' being. And as long as I do, I will call out the bad things that I don't like, and I'm going to love it anyway. Star Wars Celebration. You saw some pictures of fans that are really happy and cheering for a great trailer. You know who are the guys that had the tears in their eyes? The ones who know how bad the prequel sucked. because the movies mean that much more to us. And to sit back and watch the trailer for The Force Awakens come out in all of its frickin' glory. Those of us who love Star Wars passionately and deeply are coming off of the pain and the heartbreak and the soul crushing of the prequels. When we see that trailer, it means so much to us who can appreciate where it's now come from and recovered from, that it brings literal tears to our eyes, joy to our hearts, and a song into our souls, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the people who appreciate the new Star Wars the most.
I love Star Wars as well, not as much as you do.
Remember Loki died twice? But he didn't really die. Remember Thor died dead on the street, but he didn't really die. Remember Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury died, but he didn't really die. He was still alive. Like, they've done this over and over and over again to the point where even if Joss Whedon kills off Rhodey, let's say we see Ultron like skewer him like barbecue chicken, right? I am still going to be sitting there expecting to see him at the end going, you know, after the big celebration, they're going to wheel out a hospital cart. I knew you guys could do it. It's like, Rhodey, you're alive. But if you love something and you watch those prequels and you understand that they're terrible and they're bad, like you seem to suggest in your question, then I have to question your love for them if it doesn't make a little part of you die inside when you see the object of your love doing something so poorly. Yeah, you know, they killed Coulson, but not really. Coulson's still, everybody they kill, they didn't really kill so far. I can't think of one. The only person I can think of in all of the Marvel movies.
Who's dead, not mostly dead.
Who's dead, not mostly dead. Good Princess Bride reference there. The only I can think of is Thor's mother. Look, if you love Star Wars and you love The Phantom Menace and you love Rebels and you love the Clone Wars and you love all the things, that is great if it comes from that legitimate point of view. But don't stick your head in the sand. This trailer is everything that I needed to bring joy into my lifeless heart. I love this thing. I said it before, I'll say it again. This Batman is going to make Christopher Nolan's Batman look like a love child of a Teletubby and Big Bird. Ignoring mistakes that you yourself acknowledge in your own head and then pretending they don't exist. That's not fandom. That's just denial. And it's not real love of film. So anyway, that's my rant on it. Let's move on to the next question.
May the Force be with you all.